Another short video for my YouTube channel, Awesome Adventures. Not the adventure I planned on filming this time of year, but as with most of you, my travel plans were canceled and I am stuck at home because of the COVID-19 virus crisis. However, I'm keeping busy, and one of the things I'm doing is gardening with things that I've found that I already have around the house. So you can see here, we have carrots and celery that both can grow from just the waste that you wouldn't normally eat. The carrots are already sprouting some greens. Now, this won't grow a carrot, but the greens can be put in salad. The celery, you soak the bottom part of the stalk in some water for 3 days, and then you can plant them to grow celery. And over here are avocado seeds. They make really beautiful plants. I've done this many times, and it works quite nicely. I've recycled the containers just from things like butter and yogurt cups. You can see here I have many different containers for some container gardening. These are all containers I've just recycled from previous plants that I had just laying around in the shed. Here are some grapevine trimmings that I stuck in rooting solution, and I'll be able to grow some grapevines free just from the waste. Now over here I'm trying free hydroponics. So I've taken yogurt cups, cut holes in them, so when I put the transplant from the seedlings, the vegetable starts that I started from seed, that you can see here in the egg crate, can transplant them here, and then they do not require water. I'll just show you one. I just took a regular jar that would normally be thrown away or recycled, and then I cut holes for the roots, and then you just add water and fertilizer, and you don't have to do anything else. Things like lettuce, which is what I planted in here, grow quite nicely in the hydroponic situation with no soil. So I am going to walk down to the garden now and show you a couple other gardening techniques that I've tried this year. As I'm walking, I'll show you an illustration of what's called HugelKulture. So HugelKulture is a technique that you just use organic composting, starting with the base layer being logs, as you can see in the picture here, and then you add sticks on top of that, and then you add grass clippings, which provides nitrogen to the plants that you're going to plant in the HugelKulture. And then you add, if you want to, you can lasagna layer your hill. That's what Hugel actually means in translation from German. And then you can plant right in this hill. Then year after year, you don't need to fertilize it, and theoretically you don't need to water it if you've kept it watered quite well on the first year, because as the inside of the hill decomposes, it will also retain water within the logs and the organic material. It's all supposed to be great for not requiring any fertilizer, and you can leave it for a whole season without even watering it. There's another technique that was invented by Ruth Stout that's very, very similar. She started gardening in her 40s. She lived till 95. And when her plow person wouldn't show up to plow her garden fields, she just decided to plant directly into compost. And now one of the best techniques that people use because of Ruth Stout's work is just using hay, piling it up over grass so the grass can't grow through it, and then letting the hay decompose over the year. And then you can plant right beneath the hay, and you don't have to weed, you really don't have to water too much. It's a very low work type gardening, and she apparently got excellent crops. So here's my HugelKulture. You can see this hill. I left some of the log out so you can see the base layer of the log. And then I did grass on top of that, as you can see, and then brown leaves, and then soil on top of that. And then I planted potatoes at the very, very top. So we'll see how this turns out. And over here, I tried cardboard gardening. So cardboard apparently is loved by worms, and worms and worm castings are excellent food for garden. So we'll see how that turns out. And then here, I have a traditional garden. I just tilled up the soil, and then I added household compost. And you can see my radishes are already starting to pop through. And the kale from last year is doing quite well. And then here again, you can see I recycled onions from household waste, planted them in the garden, and in a couple months, I should have brand new onions, straight from typical, something that you would throw away. So, multiple techniques in gardening. The traditional garden with just compost that I made from the house. HugelKulture, just made from yard waste. The container gardening, cardboard, use of cardboard, and then free hydroponics using trash from the house.